Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into The Hurt Locker, a tense and gritty war thriller that takes you right into the heart of a bomb disposal unit in Iraq. Whether you're here for a refresher, missed it the first time around, or just want a deep dive into this intense story, I've got you covered. We'll break down the plot, explore the characters, and reveal some of the hidden layers that make this film so unforgettable. So, grab some popcorn, sit back, and let's jump into The Hurt Locker. In 2004, Sergeant First Class William James arrives in Iraq as the new leader of a U.S. Army Explosive Ordnance Disposal (EOD) unit amid the brutal landscape of the Iraq War. He's replacing the fallen Staff Sergeant Matthew Thompson, whose tragic death came during a mission in Baghdad. Thompson's last mission had called him and his team to investigate reports of an IED in a crowded neighborhood. Using a remote-controlled robot, Thompson inspected the device, ultimately deciding on a controlled explosion using C4 to neutralize the threat. But when the vehicle carrying the C4 malfunctions, Thompson himself must carry the explosives to the IED. Clad in blast-proof gear, Thompson completes his task but is noticed by a nearby civilian with a cell phone, who triggers the device just as Thompson reaches a point still within the blast radius. In an instant, Thompson is killed, marking a devastating start for the team. Now, Sergeant James, whose reputation for unconventional and risky methods precedes him, steps in to lead the team, which includes Sergeant J.T. Sanborn and Specialist Owen Eldridge. These two are reeling from their former leader's death, and they quickly notice that James operates with a dangerously cavalier attitude, bordering on obsession with dismantling bombs under intense pressure. Eldridge and Sanborn, both dealing with their own fears and doubts, struggle to adapt to James's reckless style. On his first mission with the team, James dismisses protocol, deciding to approach a suspected IED in full bomb-proof gear without first sending in the robot to assess the threat. Without any warning to his colleagues, he releases a smoke grenade for cover and approaches the device. The situation intensifies when a civilian taxi breaks through the protective cordon, barreling directly toward James. In a tense standoff, James draws his pistol, forcing the driver to reverse, where he's detained by U.S. forces. James then proceeds to disarm the IED manually, discovering several other bombs connected to the main device, which he methodically dismantles. Sanborn and Eldridge watch, torn between admiration for James's nerve and frustration with his audacious disregard for standard procedure. The two soldiers have starkly different responses to the stress and danger around them. Sanborn is disciplined and by the book, while Eldridge is plagued by insecurity and a constant fear of making a mistake that could cost lives. Despite their differences, both men struggle with the emotional toll of the job, especially with James's growing dominance within the unit. James soon begins to establish a rapport with an Iraqi boy he nicknames Beckham, who frequently tries to sell him DVDs. The next day, the team is assigned to investigate a suspiciously heavy car parked near a school. When they arrive, a sniper's bullet strikes the car, triggering a blaze. Ignoring the danger, James grabs a fire extinguisher to put out the flames as Sanborn rushes to a rooftop to return fire. James quickly discovers a massive IED rigged within the trunk and, undeterred, removes his protective gear, acknowledging that it won't make a difference if the device goes off. While Sanborn keeps the sniper at bay, James locates the IED's complex trigger mechanism. The tension escalates as Sanborn's panicked shouts in his earpiece urge James to hurry, forcing him to discard his headset entirely to focus on the bomb. Following the mission, Sanborn confronts James, warning him never to remove his headset again. Yet, James receives praise from a senior officer for his bravery, revealing he's disarmed hundreds of bombs, a feat that fuels his obsession. Sanborn and Eldridge grow increasingly frustrated with his renegade methods, leading to a dark moment when Sanborn contemplates triggering an explosion while James is in range. Though he ultimately does nothing, the thought underscores the team's strained dynamics. Later, while returning to base, they encounter a group of men near a vehicle with a flat tire. Tensions run high until it's revealed the men are British private military contractors who have captured two high-value targets. Suddenly, they come under sniper fire. As chaos ensues, one mercenary kills both prisoners to prevent their escape. During the intense firefight, Sanborn takes over a sniper rifle, with James as his spotter. The two bond over the shared, tense experience, finally finding mutual respect in each other's skills. During a subsequent warehouse raid, James uncovers a horrific sight, a corpse he believes to be Beckham's, bearing signs of a bomb surgically implanted inside. Devastated and angry, he later returns to the market where Beckham sold DVDs, confronting a vendor about the boy's fate. At night, James corners the man with a gun, demanding to be taken to Beckham's killers. The man takes him to a residential area, but the home he enters turns out to belong to an Iraqi professor with no connection to Beckham's death. Called to investigate a recent bombing, James suspects the insurgents responsible are nearby and sets off in pursuit. Sanborn and Eldridge follow reluctantly, and the group splits up. Eldridge is soon captured by insurgents but is ultimately rescued by his teammates, although James accidentally shoots him in the leg. Eldridge later blames James for his injury, revealing the cost of James's obsession. In the unit's final days, they're dispatched to assist a man forcibly strapped with an explosive vest. Despite James's efforts, he's unable to disarm it in time, and the man dies in a harrowing explosion. The loss takes a heavy toll on Sanborn, who reveals he can no longer bear the emotional strain, confessing his desire to leave war behind and start a family. With their rotation over, James returns to the US, reuniting with his ex-wife and their infant son. Yet, civilian life proves hollow, lacking the adrenaline and purpose he found in combat. The pull of war is stronger than any bond he feels at home. And, in the final scene, James re-enlists, once again stepping into the theater of war where he feels truly alive. The Hurt Locker ultimately portrays the psychological grip of combat, exploring the fine line between bravery and self-destruction. For James, the battlefield isn't just a duty, it's an addiction, a place where he feels most himself, leaving a haunting portrait of a soldier who can't let go.